When you saw Pastrana get into the Xfinity Series, did you already have sort of an understanding of exactly how that was going to go for him? When you saw that happening, I bet you were like, "Oh, buckle up."
Yeah,
buddy.
yeah. It was going to be, a handful.
Yeah.
And I know how Travis is. I mean, the guy is super talented. It's unbelievable. I mean, he's a talent, and he can do a lot of things. But I always felt like it wasn't high action enough. Like it was too redundant for him. You know, like you have to focus, and that was one thing that blew my mind. Like if I would talk on the radio, it's like, "Oh, your lap time was slower." I'm like, "Come on, man."
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
I had the same problem.
Right? Yeah. I'm like,
they would be like, "Shut up."
Yeah.
So that's a hell of a thing. That makes so much sense with Travis, because he seems like the kind of guy that he needs change. He needs new challenges at every corner. And even though he might have went through that turn and it was a great turn, right? He did a good job. He's going to go through it differently the next time, because he's going to try to make it better.
That's right.
And his, like, where NASCAR is almost a game of repetition and calmness and smoothness and doing the same thing over and over and over. I could see where that would conflict with his own personality.
Yep.
And I don't think he was in good cars, the Roush stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know how good that stuff was
at that time. Yeah.
But I wonder, did you ever talk to him while he was going through
I
that
didn't.
experience? No.
I didn't.
So
I never had the opportunity. Yeah.
So I know y'all didn't have y'all weren't parallel in y'all's careers, but
I had some run-ins with him though.
You did. Talk about that.
Yeah. So 2002. 2002 was a real crappy year for me from a fan standpoint, because I'd just beaten the King of Supercross. And the crazy thing is, man, it's like 2001, the fans loved me. I mean, they were like so amped, right? It's like, yeah, man, you beat the King of Supercross. This is great. And then we go into 2002 series. I move manufacturers. Everyone thinks that Honda bought me. So and then Feld, they're like lowering me down. We did this like promotional race or exhibition race at the MGM Grand Arena in Las Vegas. 100,000 to win. It's like a 2-night deal. It was a lot of fun. And we go there, and they drop me down in opening ceremonies in this like cage, and I'm wearing and sitting in a king's seat, and I'm wearing this crown. And they're telling me this. I'm like, man, I don't want to do this. And I was just a young kid at the time. Like, this don't seem right. I'm poo-pooing the King of Supercross over here. I said, it's just not a good look. No, it'll be good. I'm telling you. Do it. It's going to be awesome. People are going to love it. You're the new guy. You finally dethroned. I'm like, man, please. I don't know. No, you should do it. I'm like, all right. And I do that. And I'm coming down, and like I said, the fans had loved me until then. Come down, I hear some boos. I'm like, man. So anyhow, we get through that race, and then that was in October. So then we go to the season opener. We go to Anaheim, and the place just boos me out for the opening ceremonies. I shouldn't say booed me out, but there was just as many boos as cheers. I'm like, man, that's messed up. And I remember my engine guy, they'd been at Honda forever. He's like, hey man, don't worry about that stuff. He said, it's just directed more towards Honda. They just think we bought you and all that stuff. He said, don't let it bother you. So I'm like, all right. So fast forward to Indianapolis Supercross, about round 7. We're 7-8 laps into the race. I'm right behind Travis, and he's starting to get a little bit tired. So for you guys to be like, you see the dude's tires are getting, they're at the end of their life, and he's missing some corners right here, getting a little sloppy. And we're at Indy, like a home race for him. So right before the finish line, he misses his line. And I had this dude behind me, David Vielman, French guy, and that's the guy that I was battling for the championship, and he's just all up on me. I'm like, man, I got to force the issue here. So anyhow, he misses the line, and I go, and I'm like, okay, boom, there's my opportunity. I'm going to take it. I should have taken the opportunity 3 or 4 laps, but I was being nice. And as I get into this rut to make the turn, he's pointed this way and just goes right in front of me, and I run into him like that. There's nothing I could do. Completely his fault. He missed the corner, and he was trying something that there was no shot he was going to get back by me. He crashes. I mean, as soon as that happened, I'll never forget, man. I was jumping in the place. I looked over, and this dude just had his middle finger up at me. I mean, I couldn't even do my post-race interview on the podium. The place booed me out of the stadium. Man. It was unreal.
Did Travis say anything?
No, he didn't. He didn't there. Then we got into it.
He called you a name.
Did he?
I think he called you an ass, didn't he?
Yeah, he probably did.
Yeah.
He probably did. Probably more than that. Well, the crazy thing is, in the next year, we get into it. We're in a heat race at Anaheim. And I don't know. He passed me, and I went to pass him back, and he's on the outside. I'm on the inside, and I go to block him so he doesn't cut back underneath me. And he sees that he wasn't going to be able to, so he just kind of ghosted the bike at me and just like launched it and just went from under his legs. And so the fans thought that I took him out. So here we go again. A year later, I'm with the chosen one, and, you know, I took him out. Well, I got to give Travis credit. So Travis had to go to the semi-qualifier. He won it, and then he got on stage, and he told the fans, like, hey, guys, you were rough. I can't remember exactly what he said, but basically took up for me and said, hey, that was my fault. You guys take it easy on him. It wasn't.
Yeah.
That was cool.
I think Travis's comment about it, you being an ass was more of a compliment. In 2015, he said he goes, in some ways, you were kind of an asshole, but you had to be an asshole to be the greatest, and that Travis wasn't willing to go there. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a compliment in my eyes. Like he didn't have the ability to do what it took to be the GOAT, and sometimes to be the GOAT. You know, you shut out everything, you sacrifice everything, you beeline right by everybody, no eye contact through the garage, you know. Mm-hmm. You're not there to make
You alienate
friends.
yourself.
You do. Put yourself on an island.
You do. You put yourself on an island. And that, like, he had other things that were lucrative at the same time also with the X Games. I mean, he was becoming that guy. So he had a lot of distractions. So he was supposed to be the guy that was going to knock me off. And I knew that he wasn't, because I could see that he had these other distractions. You know, to reach the pinnacle and have a lot of success, you cannot have any distractions. You can't.
If you like that conversation with Ricky Carmichael, you ought to listen to the entire podcast. The Dale Jr. Download is available on all major podcast platforms.